Hello and welcome to amipal, the #1 place on the internet for the sweetest Amiga content. And I speak to you today via a wired lav mic, which is plugged directly into the camera because I spent so much time between the last episode that I made and this one that the battery has run out on my Rode Wireless Go. So hopefully we'll get good sound out of this. But it's a good learning opportunity for me to charge batteries more often. Anyway, I digress. It's taken me a long time to get content out at the moment. I think it's 3 months between this episode and the previous one. So what I think I need to do is get shorter episodes out on really useful pieces of software that I either enjoy using or that I find just necessary for the Amiga usage in this day and age, and which hopefully you will find useful as well. So today's episode is about FBlit. FBlit? What's that? I'll tell you what. It's an application that we install on the Amiga, and it basically makes sure that graphics data and OS calls are pushed to fast RAM rather than chip RAM. What's the difference between those two? Right, well, the Amiga generally has two forms of memory. I'm sure other people will tell me other things like slow mem and what have you. But anyway, chip RAM is used by all of the custom chips and the CPU. So the CPU and the custom chips have to share access to chip RAM. Chip RAM is slower than fast RAM. It is usually a lot smaller than fast RAM. Fast RAM, on the other hand, is CPU access only, and is generally faster. It can be on a faster bus, that kind of thing. Chip RAM, when the Amiga first was released as the A1000, it only had 256k of RAM, which is very limited. That was soon up to 512k for the A500. A500 Plus would then push 1 megabyte, as with the 600 and the 3000. I'm leaving out the 2000. I didn't look it up. The A4000 and the other AGA Amigas, the 1200 and C32, they ended up with 2 meg of chip RAM. Obviously, the higher colours, which AGA was capable of, needs more memory to store that wonderful multicolour data. So chip RAM, it's used to display images, it's used to play sounds, that sort of thing. And if you've got a Workbench that's nicely populated with a high colour screen, I say high colour, we're not talking 16-bit here, 16-bit colours, we're talking like more than 16 colours. If you've got a Workbench with more colours than that, and you've got colour icons or new icons, you've got multiple screens open, you've got large directories filled with icons, it all eats into chip RAM, and you can find it vanishing incredibly quickly, particularly if you've got other applications open as well, their own screens, or you've got public screens as well. This all takes chip RAM to display and to hold that information. Now FBlit, what it does is it stores some of that graphics data in fast RAM, and takes away, well, not takes away, it patches some of the OS calls so that rather than pushing it towards the blitter and chip RAM, pushes it towards fast RAM. And the advantage that has is that you can dramatically reduce the amount of chip RAM being used for images for things like windows overlapping and new icon data and other things. That is now stored in fast RAM, and whenever that data is required, it's just copied back over by the CPU and the blitter displays it. What kind of difference does it make? Well, I have an A1200 here, handily, which has FBlit installed. So let's get the camera brought up in front of the screen and I'll show you what a difference it can make. So, here's Workbench. I've already downloaded the FBlit package from Aminet. You'll see something called ftext up here. I'll explain that in a minute. Now, FBlit, here's the guide. I already opened it as well. It's a simple case of copying FBlit to C and FBlit library to libs. Okay, so if you're doing it manually, you can just go into your Workbench partition, show all files, and just drag and drop the files. Where are we? So I have that, doesn't it? So you basically drag FBlit into C. It's already in there. You'll have to do a show all files on here with the FBlit library and copy that in as well. There's a GUI as well. Double click on it and see if it actually runs here. Which it needs, I think it needs MUI to run. I don't know actually. Anyway, basically just shows the different functions which are patched by FBlit, and you can activate certain pieces, and basically there's a lot of complicated stuff here that you can do. I've never touched it. I've never felt the need to touch it. But yeah, you can exclude things and all sorts of bits and pieces. Either way, that's all you need to copy. You then need to edit your startup sequence. So much easier when I have access to the keyboard. I don't have to hold onto the mic. I'll stop complaining, honest. You then need to edit your startup sequence. Okay, so this is for Workbench 3.2. Yours might look slightly different, but if we go down, okay, they say basically just before bind drivers is a good place to put it. So here's FBlit and also ftext. Now ftext is also a package that's available from Aminet. I will put the links up and also in the description for this video. ftext does exactly the same, is the same concept as FBlit, where rendered text, where it gets rendered to bitmap, then gets pushed into fast RAM and then pushed back via the CPU when required. ftext can't be run on its own. FBlit is required to use ftext, and there's an explicit warning actually in the documentation warning you against that. So make sure FBlit runs before ftext, and then save that file, and that's all you need to do. ftext, a similar concept to copying as well. There's the actual executable that gets run, so you just copy that into C, either via Workbench or Shell, and that's it. Now what I'm going to do is do a reboot now, because I've been mucking about and graphics RAM and all that is kind of mucked about. So what I'm actually going to do, let's go back into that startup sequence. It's me using JanoEd. Other text editors are available, including a nice one actually supplied with Workbench 3.2. So this doesn't run, so it gives us a good idea of how much memory is being used by my current Workbench with this wonderful bitmap background, a bit of artwork there by my brother of a Lehman Russ tank of the Imperial Guard in Warhammer 40,000, which I can also provide you a link for if you really want it. Anyway, let's reboot with a clean startup sequence, and we'll see how much graphics memory is available when it first appears. Okay, the Vulcan Death Grip, a bit of initialization there from the Blizzard 1230/4. Bit of a pause there on the startup sequence. I need to fix that actually. That's just a consequence of 3.2 that's not required, so we can get rid of that. Anyway, I'm muttering to myself just to get through this. So here we are. There's the copyright thing. Okay, so Amiga Workbench release 3.2, and we can see that we've got 1719024 graphics memory free, and 30.8 other memory. So bear that in mind. That's what we're left with when we boot up without those. And I'm also going to do another thing to show you here. No, not games. Always do this. Go into a big directory of games. Okay, so that's reduced it to 1576072. Well, these are all quotable numbers, aren't they? I wonder if that... Still the same? So now let's view it by icon. And again, stays the same. So that icon data is already in graphics memory when you open a window. Anyway, gets a bit back when we close that. Let's do that. Let's reinstate FBlit and ftext. Oops. Oh, bind drivers, wasn't it? There we go. Bind drivers. CFBlit, CFText. Save that. Close that. Right, here we go. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we've rebooted the Amiga 1200, and hopefully we should now see a difference in the graphics memory, the chip RAM used with FBlit and ftext within the startup sequence. Okay, so is it going to update again? There you go, 1886512. It's a nice saving, isn't it? So obviously you can see that fast RAM, other than mem as it's in here as, it's down to 30.4, 30447.168. And we'll open WHD load directory, draw. I won't make the cardinal sin of calling it a folder because it ain't. 1743560. Okay. View that by icon. Now, I don't know if you've noticed with the resizing of the windows there, but just in general, this seems faster to me. I don't know about the dragon screen, but general operation with FBlit in place, to me, seems faster. If you've got a faster CPU, then it's going to do a faster redraw off the basis that the CPU is doing some of that grunt work now. So it makes sense to me. So yeah, that's it. FBlit, ftext. Have a look. So there we have FBlit and ftext, two very handy Amnet programs there. Highly recommend you install them, particularly if you are working in Workbench a lot and you could do with the extra speed. That's one benefit I kind of missed off at the beginning. I went quite hard on the saving chip RAM, didn't I? And we're talking around 160,000K saved, which is nice. You know, nice to have, particularly when you're doing a lot of things and that chip RAM's gradually being eroded. And then particularly if you're also diving in and out of WHD low games and it needs that memory free. One thing I didn't mention, my Workbench is currently running at 256 colours. So the fact that it's in 256 colours and it's able to still refresh at that good rate, I was quite surprised. I half expected that to be at 64, to be honest with you. So I've surprised myself in that. Anyway, if you have any questions about today's episode, please do give me a shout. I'm going to be making more of these videos, as I said, about handy little applications and utilities for Workbench and the Amiga. It's been a bit of a learning opportunity this today, what with me not having done this much recently, so I'm a bit rusty. Please excuse that. But thanks for watching, and cheers.